everybody, welcome back to Book Babble. My name's Kelsey and today we're going to talk about Not Even Bones by Rebecca Schaeffer. This book is wonderful. I love it a lot. I've been waiting a long time to talk to you about this one. It is the first in a 3-part series and it's definitely on the darker side. So it's kind of a contemporary urban fantasy, even though it has some sort of sci-fi feels. And it takes place in sort of a modern version of our world where supernatural creatures from legends and folklore are real and live among us, and they are called and referred to as Unnaturals. Now, our main character, Nita's mother, hunts down Unnaturals to be killed and sold for parts on the black market, kind of the same way that sometimes people sell like rhino horn today. People do the same thing with unicorn bone, which has like euphoric effects, or there's a creature called a Zanny, which we'll talk about a little bit later, whose blood has like anesthetic qualities and pain-killing qualities. And Nita's mother goes out and procures these people, because they are people, and Nita dissects them and cuts them up and prepares them for shipping. So already to start off, we have kind of a moral gray area, which is really what this book is playing with. One day, the creature that Nita's mom brings home is alive, and it's a boy about Nita's age. So, unable to reconcile killing this boy, because everything she's seen before was already dead, there was no harm in dissecting it for scientific curiosity, or just because it calms her down, because that's the sort of person Nita is. She was not ready to cross that line into becoming a killer, so she sets this kid free, which instigates a line of events that ends up with Nita herself being kidnapped and up for auction on the black market and having to find her own way out. This book is very much about exploring what it is that makes a monster. Is it innate, or is it an amount of choice, a falling of circumstances? And it really explores that darker part. One of the most fun characters in this is a Zanny named Kovet. So what a Zanny is a creature who feeds off the pain and suffering of others. So they're pretty much universally regarded as evil. And Kovet definitely walks that line. But I think that one of the best things about this is how multi-layered these characters are portrayed as. And throughout the series, things just get grayer and grayer. One of the things that the author has said about these books is that, have you ever watched something or read something where you know things could have taken a really, really dark turn and they just shy away from it? Well, she takes the dark turn every single time. You might also recognize this title if you're a fan of Webtoon, because the first book has been made into a Webtoon and they just started the second one. That's right, this is part of a 3-book series. The first one is Not Even Bones, the second one is Only Ashes Remain, and the third one is When Villains Rise. And they are all out now, so you can check them all out and read them right away, so you don't have to wait for the cliffhangers, because there are definitely cliffhangers, which I had to wait a couple years for. But you're in luck. You can actually pick up all 3 books here in the library. So hopefully we'll see you soon.
Hi everybody, this is Amber. So today I'm going to be reviewing Summer of Salt by Katrina Leno. I really enjoyed this book. It's sort of a modern magical realism setting. It has some decent LGBTQIA plus representation. It was first released in 2018. It's not a part of a series, it's a standalone, and you can find it in our YA fiction section under Leno. So Summer of Salt is a super simple, easy read. It's not particularly long, and if you're into magic, witches, and like practical magic in particular, this is very much for you. This book was essentially like the teenage sort of like college version of like practical magic, which honestly I really liked. I thought it was very cute. And I enjoy this sort of like modern setting too for stuff like that. So Summer of Salt is about Georgie Fernway. She's the main character, and she's, a lesbian witch who has yet to discover her powers. Every woman in her family has had like magical powers, and so far she's the only one who has not displayed any form of magic. and it's, definitely weighing on her mind. Her sister Mary can float, like she literally just hovers right above the air, and Mary's powers are getting stronger by the day. And Georgie and Mary are set to leave for college. They live on this little island called By the Sea, and they're set to be the only two women in their family who have ever left the island as well. Everyone else going generations back has just lived and died on this island. So they're supposed to be going off to college, and Georgie is constantly kind of getting into arguments with her sister Mary, about like blowing their cover pretty much, because all their lives they've had to hide their powers. And even though you definitely get the sense that everyone on the island knows that they have some sort of, hint of magic in them, it's never said out loud by the townspeople, oh, that you're witches, things like that. But people will definitely go to like their mom if they need like a sleeping aid, or if they're like a baby or kid is sick, they go to their mom. They're like, can you help me with this? And their mom will pretty much whip up like a magic potion and give it to them. So it's that whole like, we're not going to talk about it, but we know it's happening kind of thing going on. It definitely adds to like the air of mystery on this little seaside island as a whole. And Georgie and Mary live with their mom at the Fernwet Inn, which their mom runs throughout the year. And every year, ornithologists are people that study birds, like bird scientists. And they come from all over the world to study this bird that is supposedly 300 years old. And it always comes back every single year to try and nest and have babies at their, by the sea island. And so this fuels like this entire like tourism pretty much, and it kind of that's how they make their money and things like that. So the entire island is pretty much dedicated to this bird essentially, because it brings money to the island and pretty much everyone's livelihood sort of depends on it. And so the mystery, something happens to the bird, and then Georgie has to sort of solve, what went wrong. And you definitely, again, like it's this entire vibe of magic and mystery and just sort of calm and cool. The only thing is that there are some heavy issues towards the end, so I will kind of give a little bit of a content warning. It's not anything that's gone over in graphic detail, but it does happen, so I just want to put that in there. But other than that, like it was, like I said, it's a super easy read. It had like a really great kind of like vibe to it, and I enjoyed it a lot. And so I hope you give it a chance and check out Summer of Salt. Bye.
Hi everyone, I'm Randy, and today for Book Babble, I'm going to talk about Somewhere Between Bitter and Sweet. This book is written by Lake and Zaya Kemp. It is contemporary fiction, and it was just released this year in April. So let me tell you a little bit about this book. In the novel, Penelope Prados has been lying to her family. They think that she has been attending school since last semester, but she just can't go. She can't make herself walk into the classroom. She has these crippling anxiety attacks anytime she tries to go to school. Her parents really want her to study nursing. They want her to become a nurse just like her mother. But that is not Pen's dream. What calls to her most is cooking and food. She wants to run her family's restaurant, Nachos Tacos, to create wonderful, delicious recipes and bake scrumptious pastries like her famous coconut cake. But everything changes when she finally comes clean with her parents. She's fired from the restaurant and has to leave home, something she's not sure that she's ready for. She's sort of lost everything, her family, her home, her job, and her crippling depression just might drag her under. But she has friends and family there to support her now that she is on her own. There's also the possibility of romance with Xander Amaro. So Pen's last day at the restaurant is actually Xander's first day at Nachos Tacos. And of course, Xander has his own struggles. As an undocumented teen, he's never felt quite at home in the United States. Xander lives with his abuelo, who is basically his only family and support. So Xander, his mother and father lived in Mexico, and his father left home and left the family first to come to the United States and sort of get a job there. But there was no word from his father. So then, after Xander is sort of beaten and robbed, his mother sends him away to the United States. So really, Xander's dream is to find a home and family. And to him, this new job may be the first step in finding that home and finding his father, who is still missing. He doesn't know where his dad is. But sort of these outside forces are threatening both Xander because of his undocumented status and the restaurant and Penn's family. So both Penn and Xander will have to figure out their place in the world so that they can sort of save the restaurant and achieve their dreams. So let me tell you why I liked this book. First off, I did listen to this book, and as you know, I was listening to it, all the descriptions of the food just sort of made me want to have all the things in the world. The descriptions of enchiladas and all the pastries, the coconut cake and the empanadas and panfino, like, oh, it was just so delicious. And I love the fact that Penelope Penn was so inspired by her father's love of cooking and the history and the tradition that went into all the food at the restaurant, and the fact that Penn, would try to improve and create all these delicious flavors in her food. So that was just one of my favorite things about this book. I love the idea of family and the sense of community that this novel portrays. Of course, Penn's family is very important to her. Her father's opinion, her mother's opinion, her siblings, all of them are very important to her. But she is able to make it through some really dark times with the support of her friends, with the support of her very dysfunctional restaurant family. All of the employees that work there are sort of this dysfunctional family, as well as the people in her neighborhood. They're able to get through and sort of work through, like, there's this sort of loan shark figure whose name is JP, and he's sort of looming in the background, sort of threatening, Xander and his undocumented status. He's also threatening Penn's father and the restaurant and other people in the community, and they sort of come together to sort of fight and sort of not let JP control their lives. So I really liked that part. Of course, there's the romance with Penn and Xander. They're able to, be honest with each other. Penn is not really honest about how she feels sometimes about all of the depression and the things that weigh on her, because she's trying to be strong and stay strong for her family. But she's able to be honest with Xander. And Xander, in turn, is able to be honest with Penn to sort of talk about his undocumented status, to sort of talk about how he's trying to find his father and sort of how that makes him feel. So I love the way that Xander and Penn sort of grow together. It's just, in general, I really love the story. Everybody has like different things happening in their lives, and it sort of all comes together in the end, and it's just a great book. I would highly recommend it. So if you're interested in reading this, obviously we do have it at the library in print, but you can also check it out as an ebook on Access 360, Cloud Library, and Libby. It's also available as an e-audiobook on Access 360 and Libby. I actually listened to it on Libby, and I really enjoyed it. Like I said, the descriptions of the food were just excellent. So that's it for today. We hope you pick up some of these books and enjoy them just as much as we do. If you want more recommendations, visit our website at fountaindale.org/teenreads to view book lists curated just for you. We'll see you next time.